I'm Bug. My real name is Amber, but obviously there's another Amber in the vaping community, so I go by Bug or MacArthur Bug on Twitter, if any of you follow me there, or Buglet Mac on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure I'm MacArthur Bug just about everywhere else. That's the easiest way to find me. Anyway, I've been vaping for a little over a year. I switched over January 2010 after my grandmother's funeral. And this is a quick little about me, my how-to beginning story, how I got going. I don't know how the rest of you found it, and I'd love to hear your stories. So if you could make a video just like this to help us stop the bans and help other people get to know that vaping is going to save their lives compared to smoking. Anyway, I got started January 2010, but I found them before that. My grandmother died in the fall of 2009. She passed away due to cardiovascular issues, most of which brought on by a very well-lived life. She smoked until the day she died. I was among the people who put her last cigarette and such in her coffin. My family rented out a VA hall. We're a very, very large group, and it took that to fit us all. So it was a big, crowded event, and a lot of the time you had to go outside to have a smoke, not just to have a smoke, but to get away from the chaos and the noise of a very large, very loving, very insane family. I had stepped outside to have a cigarette and had caught my dad out there too. He had an electronic cigarette. Now, I'd heard about these a little bit, but not a lot. There wasn't a lot of information in the news. They weren't selling them at gas stations. They just weren't very readily available. And mind you, this was only a year and a half ago, which is kind of awesome considering how far we've come. Anyway, so my dad had this electronic cigarette, and I asked him if I could try it. He said yes. This was one of the more expensive pen style 901 type ones. It was, it didn't produce very good vapor. It didn't taste that great. I don't know what flavor cartomizer he had in there, but my money's on generic tobacco. I still saw the benefit of having this device in my life. I was spending my first year in Kentucky. I was raised a desert girl. It does not really get that cold in the desert. I had to go outside every time I wanted a cigarette. I'm not going to smoke inside around my kids. So I'd go outside, and it'd be freezing. So cold. This new device looked like something I could do, if not around my kids, at least in the house. So I was intrigued. And I didn't want to have all the other complications that smoking brought on. So I went home afterwards, and I hopped on the internet. I was nearly swayed by Blue. I was nearly swayed by a couple of the other ones, but Blue was looking very attractive to me. But then I found ECF, the Electronic Cigarette Forum. I did a lot more research and reading, and I got talked into two kits, the two most popular ones. The KR808 from Vapor for Life, and a generic 510 model. I don't remember what website. I believe they're closed down now, to be honest with you. So I get these. I try it out. My daughter crushed my last pack of cigarettes and gleefully threw them out. And in all honesty, I didn't miss it. This was a phenomenal experience. It was so awesome. It was life-changing from the get-go. I was now a vapor. I got involved in the forums. I got on the boards. I started really interacting with people, and I found that there's this sense of community that bypasses the standing around the smoke pit, that bypasses anything I've ever really experienced outside of, say, a Comic-Con. We get together and we have vape meets. We get together and we do this. That's strange and interesting and amazing. I've really learned and grown in my experience in my last year and a half, and I know I've converted at least a few smokers over to vaping. I got my husband to switch over in March. I'm trying to convince my very, very stubborn father. We'll see how that goes. And I've convinced a few other people to at least try it, to at least give it a go. And then, you know, after that, that's personal choice. You can't make anybody do anything they're not willing to do, but you can at least show them the path. you can at least give them a choice. And I feel like I've done that for a few people, which to me is amazing. Since I got so much out of the community, they've really been giving and loving to me from the go. So as to who am I outside of vaping, I'm not really that exciting, to be honest. If you really want to know, I will make a part 2 for questions and answers. I'm a housewife. My husband's in the Air Force. I'm an epic geek. I like a lot of the geeky things. I'm not hardcore in anything, but a lot of them just blow my mind. I love comic books and sci-fi and all of that stuff. I'm a podcast nut, a voracious reader. I have 2 daughters, a 14-year-old and a 7-year-old. They greatly benefit from the slightly healthier me that has resulted from this. And they support me every step of the way, which I think is great. And I know I don't stink around them, and there's no chance of them getting secondhand smoke. Beyond that, if you really want to know more, feel free to ask. But vape, it's changed my life. That's all. Thank you.